I'm in the car with Travis Irvine, and we're on our way to the Iran-New Zealand game at the World Cup. And Travis, I have a problem that I don't think many other sports fans ever have to deal with. I genuinely don't know who I'm supposed to cheer for.
And I have a problem. It's these idiot LA drivers. Get out of my way!
It's the SoFi Report. Let's do it. Welcome to the SoFi Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi. This is Travis Irvine. He's driving the car. Woo!
Here we go.
This is your weekly foreign policy show, giving you the gory details of geopolitics with hopefully some laughs along the way. And gosh, we've got a crazy show. This is a little bit of a different show. We're live in the car.
Yeah.
Live recording in the car. And we're on our way to the soccer game.
Yes.
Iran v. New Zealand.
Yes, the World Cup is here in America. And it's specifically here in Los Angeles. And it is one of the most controversial World Cups in recent memory, Seena.
You know, a lot of these countries, when they host the World Cup, whether it's like Russia or even like Mussolini's Italy, they will kind of sports wash their country a bit to kind of put their best foot forward. And they'll say, you know what, hey, we aren't awful. We aren't so bad.
Right.
We can be good.
Yes, specifically for hosting soccer ball.
Exactly.
Come see us.
It's about sport.
It's about sports.
But you know what? Not America.
No.
We are fascist adjacent, and we will let you know. We don't want anyone from Somalia. We don't want anyone from these other countries. They are doing it. One of the best referees in the world.
Yes.
Unable to get in the country, and now we've seen that the Iranian national team was kicked out of their normal headquarters here in Los Angeles, and they've been forced to go to Mexico, to Tijuana, to have their home base, and then they've been only granted a day-long visa. So they can only come into the country for a day, meaning not like even 24 hours. Like, they have to go back to Mexico after this game at 6 p.m. Pacific tonight.
Right. And the unique thing about this World Cup is it's Canada, United States, and Mexico all hosting together, which years and years ago, when this was all planned out, was a beautiful way of North America and Central America adjacent hosting a collaborative World Cup. It's one of the first World Cups in history that has 48 teams participating. So there's so many countries who need to get in. And unfortunately, the United States is a hard place to get into right now if you're not from the United States.
Right. I forgot they expanded the whole thing.
It's all different, baby. It's bigger and supposedly better than ever, but that's what we're finding out in real time.
Well, here we are on June 15th. You probably have seen by now, this episode's going to drop on Thursdays. You've definitely seen the quote-unquote new Iran deal, which is now just a memorandum of understanding.
Which is kind of like a deal, I guess.
MOU.
I understand this could be a deal, maybe someday.
There's going to be a signing ceremony, apparently, in Switzerland. We'll get into that a little bit later on what the big points are from that deal. But I wanted to kind of go over what's going on with the Iranian national team. And I think it's really instructive based on a lot of the Iran coverage we've had. And I know we've been tilted pretty heavily in Iran because, it's me and there's a war. I get it. But I don't know if this deal is going to last. Israel has said that they are going to continue to occupy Lebanon and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we could talk about how the regime has been using the soccer team as a way not to unify their country, but to shield the country from people abroad.
Right.
Right? And so, since 79, they've always seen soccer as this weird thing. First, and as far as I was growing up, soccer was this grand unifier.
Yes, it's the world's game.
Yes, and it would bring people together. And frankly, whenever the team would win, or if they would beat the United States, like they have a couple times, there would always be people in the streets. And you know what? When the regime doesn't like you, they put some people in the streets, and it's bad news.
It's always bad news when there's people in the streets in Iran.
Yeah, and so the regime is like, okay, well, is this going to mean that people are going to try to overthrow the regime, overthrow the Islamic Republic when the Iranian national team wins? Maybe not. It hasn't happened quite so far, but they don't like it when there's a bunch of Iranians that are getting together. Here's how in Iran they have like the club soccer, right? And that's like bubbles up, the federation.
Of course.
I don't know if you knew this, Travis. I know you're a big soccer guy.
Love soccer.
But in Iran, the heads of the federation, like police or whatever, they are run by IRGC people.
Well, I guess that makes sense. IRGC runs everything else.
So why not run soccer?
Why not?
And so in the domestic stadiums even, they actually have a lot of facial recognition software that they use, seat-by-seat mapping, and you'd think like, oh, are they trying to find someone that's drunk? Well, there's no booze there. So they are finding dissidents. They are finding people that are doing the whole Magbar dictator, which is death to dictator, or Zan Zendegi Azadiya. You know, if you say anything like that,
that's much different chants than the ones I cheer in Ohio.
Yeah. What do they do in Ohio?
Go Columbus.
Go Columbus. That's it. Yeah. Not really offensive. No, not at all.
Not yet.
So yeah, that's how they are able to track those people down. So you can imagine that if you have a soccer team that goes on the world stage and they're good and they're competent and they're not running for the exits or trying to defect like the women's team was. I don't know if you remember that when they were in Australia. Some of them were trying to get out of there. But then if the team's intact and they're, putting out these great vibes about their own team, then all of a sudden the world thinks, hey, maybe things aren't so bad in Iran.
Right. And that is the sports washing that you speak of.
Exactly. And so you could always look at, again, how bad America is, how bad Israel is. But Iran is also bad, okay? Let's get into it. What do they do to these players? So if you're trying to get these guys under control, you've got to do both a carrot and the stick. And let me explain the stick part first.
Sure. I know what a carrot is.
You do? That's good.
It's a delicious orange vegetable.
In 2022, and we've talked about the Women Life Freedom movement a bunch of times on this show, in Qatar, the last World Cup in 2022.
Also controversial for other reasons.
Yeah, the Iranians played against England. And when the national anthem happened against England, the Iranian players refused to sing. They were silent mouths, not moving at all.
Right, and this taps into some of the Instagrams I've sent you in the middle of the night lately, and that is all sports, all footy is political.
Yes.
Even a thing like that is a political statement.
Yes, exactly. It's a wildly political statement. And even one of those players, Sardar Azmoun, would get a lot of backlash for an Instagram post he would do shortly after the game. He said, quote, "At worst, I'll be dismissed from the national team. No problem. I'd sacrifice that for one hair on the heads of Iranian women. This story will not be deleted. They can do whatever they want. Shame on you for killing so easily. Long live the Iranian women."
Woo!
And so this was a huge deal, you can imagine.
Of course.
And reports said that the IRGC went in and had a meeting with these team members.
Oh, boy.
And they said, okay, great. I'm sure you guys had a great time protesting.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel good about yourself?
Sure.
Was that nice? Was that a nice
Did
feeling?
it feel good for you?
Does it feel good? You made the Instagram, but you got the likes.
Mm-hmm.
You got the retweets.
Love the likes.
Love a DM
Mm-hmm.
who slid into... Anyways. If you do it again, we're going to murder your family.
Oh, right,
We're gonna
right.
We're going to torture you.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
We're going to kidnap your family. We're going to torture your family. You're going to be bankrupt. We will make your life a living nightmare.
Sure.
So, surprisingly enough, the team kind of got a little quiet after that.
Right.
And so, but in the run-up to the 2026 games, that same player, Sardar Azmoun, met and took a photo with the Emir of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And we know how many missiles the people of Dubai have been receiving from Iran.
Yeah.
UAE is seen as this good relationship with the United States. Dubai is this international city, all of these things. He posts an Instagram photo with him and the Sheikh in it. Bad news. He's off the team.
Oh, wow.
He gets kicked off the team. He's their best player. Kicked off the team.
Brutal.
So, that's the stick. We've seen how that works. So how do the other players stay silent? Well, and this is where my conflict comes in.
Okay.
They've been bought off with luxury cars, cash bonuses. They're exempt from the mandatory military service.
Wow.
So there's an upside for them to selling out.
Right.
And so now we get to, how do the Iranians see these people? And for years, like, I have this beautiful memory of my dad making kebab when we were younger. He had the meat on the sikh and on the skewer, and he was, like, getting it ready to grill. And I remember, like, Ali Daei from the Iranian national team scored against the United States. I remember seeing my dad jumping up and down and just being so happy, and I was excited. That is not the same team.
No, but I also remember that World Cup because Iran beat the United States in the group stage.
Yes.
And the United States did not advance to the next round because of that game.
Yes.
It led to one of the only Jay Leno jokes I still remember from being a kid, and that is, it's the first time in history Iranians sent Americans home early.
Wow, that is a good Jay Leno.
It's the only one I remember.
It's oddly political. So this is the thing. It's like, now you have former, national team players that are in Los Angeles protesting, demanding that FIFA expel the Iranian national team altogether.
Because they've been taking all this sweet bribe money from the regime.
They don't view that the Iranian team represents, or the Iranian people, that they are just an extension of the regime now.
Wow.
And we talked about how their training camp has got pushed to Tijuana and all these things, and it's like, the other thing that you're not allowed to do inside the stadium is we can't have the lion with the sun flag in there.
I was going to ask, because we talked, obviously, about doing this, and I think you were saying certain flags were banned. Not the Iranian flag itself, but just the
old one before the revolution.
Got you.
And so,
wow.
And I was looking forward to maybe bringing that flag, because now that the Shah's son is no longer, like, doing anything to try to free the Iranian people, we could go back to that flag, meaning just free Iran, and not like, oh, I want this party boy to be the crown prince and king of and Shah of the country again. Anyway, so you can't do that. You'll be kicked out. So the Iranian sports minister had this to say about the flags, the unauthorized flags, and any chance that could happen. He said that Iran would stop its own matches and walk off the field if fans waved the unauthorized flags and chanted anti-regime slogan.
So this could be a very short game.
Yeah, if I go to this game and I say, Jinjian Azadi, Zan Zendegi Azadi, women like freedom, Maghreb dictator, down with the free run, they're going to walk off the field?
Wow.
They're going to point at me, and then I'm going to point at you, Travis, and I'm going to be like, he said it.
Right.
He said,
because I look like something I would say. Yep.
Yeah, he's an Islamist.
He's the Ohio-tola, as
they
call me.
Sunni Ohio Islamist. So we'll see how that goes. I'm genuinely conflicted and nervous. I feel like now that we've talked it out a little bit, I feel like I won't cheer for the team at all. And I will be... It's weird to say that I hope they lose.
Right. Well, here's the thing that I was going to tell you from a purely sports angle.
Yeah.
New Zealand is not good.
Oh.
If Iran is going to win one game in the group stage, this would be the game. New Zealand is ranked 48th out of all 48 teams.
Come on, Kiwis!
I know, the sweet Kiwis. But that's the thing. I of course, am neutral. I back my friend no matter what you want to do. But this, by all intents and purposes, could be the worst game of the World Cup. I think 0-0 tie. No one wins. No one loses.
If it's 0-0, that'd be awful.
Yeah, well, that's soccer, baby.
That'd be so boring.
There'd be no shootouts or anything.
Oh, yeah, they don't even do extra time.
Not in the group stage.
Not in the group stage.
So, either way, I support whatever you want to do, especially if you yell a thing that clearly will get us kicked out.
Well, and then, like, all this is against the backdrop of this deal that just happened.
Right.
That they're doing. And by the way, I think we'll play this in the JD Vance segment, but Iran is slated to get a lot of money. Like, a ton of money. Well over the $100 billion that Obama handed to them, and the pallets full of cash. Not only have we de facto given control over the Strait of Hormuz to the Iranians and the Omanis, of course, but it's the IRGC that's going to be calling the shots. They're the executive producers of that strait now.
Right.
but they're going to give them sanction relief. And now we don't even know if the nuke stuff is even going to happen, because this deal says we're going to stop everything now, the strait's going to be open, and now we'll take 60 days to talk about the nukes.
Wow. So I wonder if the soccer team's going to come in feeling emboldened from this possible deal. And then if they win outright, I mean, then it's like you said, by proxy, it's a win for the regime.
The United States and Israel, I've said it, I'll say it again, have screwed up so badly that they've made the Islamic Republic of Iran the underdog, the likable underdog. So to kind of wrap up this segment, I want to just go through these major deal points.
Yeah,
so that people know what's going on. As of right now, again, it's Monday. Maybe things will change. Maybe the war will be started again by Thursday.
Who the hell
knows? Who knows? Okay, folks, we can't release a new episode every single day. We're literally doing this in the car.
It does feel every week. It's like Groundhog Day.
People are like, more episodes. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I can just like goodbye to my family and just report awful news every day? I can't. Listen, folks. Both sides, this is from Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. He said, quote, that both sides had declared, quote, immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. And it's funny that they said both sides, Iran and the United States. Israel is not included in that. I guess if you just count Israel as an extension of the United States, then that's what that means. We talked about the Strait of Hormuz. That's open and it'll be managed by the Iranians and the Omanis. And that the strait would be open to all commercial vessels. Both sides have agreed that, once again, Iran would not produce or acquire a nuclear weapon. Interestingly enough, Tehran's been saying that for 30 years.
Right.
And then a senior Iranian official said Iran would freeze its nuclear activity, refraining from further uranium enrichment or the expansion of nuclear facilities pending a final agreement. It's so weird because Trump is also saying that there's no urgency to remove Iran's stockpile of nuclear material, as he threatened to do before. So now he went from, we got to dig it up or we're going to obliterate you, to, no, it's good. We can just leave it there.
You can have it.
Well, that's like coat check. We'll get it later. And then here's the big thing. There won't be any new sanctions on Iran until a deal is finalized. The U.S. would waive oil sanctions on Iran for a specified period, and then after the final agreement, the U.S. and UN sanctions would be lifted completely on an agreed timetable. And a senior Iranian official said the U.S. had agreed to release $25 billion of Iran's frozen assets, including direct cash transfers, cooperation among regional countries, and financial credit lines.
Man, they're making out real good.
It's crazy. They are doing so much. They're getting all of this stuff. And it's not going to be good for the Iranian people aren't going to make any money out of this.
Ooh.
And there's going to be this whole rebuilding fund that they're going to get access to. And so, I don't know. This is just an absolute mess right now.
Well,
this is, again, as we've said at the beginning, this is the worst case scenario for the Iranian people. This is also worst case scenario for the United States. We don't even know the answer to the nuclear question yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to be, hanging out, waiting. They're just going to rebuild whatever they want to rebuild.
And it seems like such a worst case scenario for the global economy as well, because now Iran has been shown that they could just shut it off and close the strait again and have such an impact. We're seeing it. I mean, right now we're driving around looking at the gas prices. I mean, they can really have extreme damage on the global economy whenever they want.
Yeah. Okay, this is going to be great. Okay, let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to still be in the car, and we're going to talk about some countries that are in the World Cup and some crazy stories from them. I can't wait for this next block because there's some wild stories coming out. This is the Foreign Report from the car. The Foreign Report goes to FIFA. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. It's Seena and Travis in the car, in traffic, going to the World Cup.
Woo! Let's go. And I've decided I will be rooting for New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's why I wore a New Zealand adjacent hat. It's technically a Studio City hat, but it's got stars on it, like the New Zealand flag.
The closer we get, but now I'm like, we're going to cheer for the worst team?
Yep, we have to.
Because we can't cheer for the worst team.
Right. And that is called Welcome to Soccer. They're both bad. 0-0.
So, Travis, we thought it'd be fun to do some stories on countries that are World Cup countries.
Okay.
That have won the World Cup. What's going on with them?
I love that because you know me. I love World Cup. I love the sports element of the World Cup. So, yeah, let's talk about what's happening in some of these other countries that are not Iran.
Okay, France. We don't talk about France enough. But France, by the way, has nuclear weapons. They are a nuclear power.
Muy bien.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Spanish. Sorry. Très bien.
Très bien.
There you go. It's pretty much
that's something we sleep on sometimes. Also, France has, geographically, resource-wise, they can be Europe's center for artificial intelligence because they have all the materials there. So, in your mind, folks, keep France in the back of your head there.
Sure. And France, by the way, top-ranked world team.
Yes. Mbappe.
Yes, Mbappe. They went to the finals in the 2022
He's very
World
good.
Cup. He's very good.
So Trump is on his way to meet with Macron ahead of the G7 meeting. And so Macron said of the meeting, "We will have a respectful but firm discussion," noting that tariffs do not do anyone good, especially tariffs between G7 countries.
Wow. Très bien on that French accent.
Thank you. I learned it from Kenan Thompson from All That.
Oh, yeah. I was
He was
going to
in the
say.
tub.
Or that chef from The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Who tries to kill the crab.
Yes. Trump, of course, countered with a threat to impose a 100% tariff on French wines and champagne unless France agrees to drop the current 3% tax on revenues earned by tech companies like Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Google.
So he just threatens everybody.
Why? He wants France to not tax American tech companies. How does that help someone in Columbus or Pittsburgh?
I don't know, but it's very funny. Speaking of tech companies, we're right next to a Waymo here in Los Angeles, and I'm going to blow by this freaking robot car.
Yeah.
Because it has just been sitting there.
Sideswipe it. Let's go. You could floor it. We'll see what happens.
This is your Mazda, so you tell me.
Mazda.
Well, that is good timing.
Isn't this the Mazda commercial? Or is it doing like
No, it's the kid who got the zoom, zoom, zoom. It's the zoom, zoom kid.
The zoom, zoom.
Apparently, he's really addicted to zooming right now.
All right, so that's France. I think we're going to see what happens there. France is going to take a much more bigger role. By the way, France is also, they hold a lot of weight in the EU, of course. Yes. And I think they may go right-wing on their next election cycle. I've been reading about that.
I mean, this just seems to be the pendulum swinging.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going on there. Okay, this is my favorite story.
All right.
Because it's actually the scariest.
Okay. Well, wait. All right. Well, yeah. One man's trash, it's another man's. Yeah.
I saw this. I was like, oh God! I was like, drop my water. Argentinian president Javier Milei.
Oh, the chainsaw guy.
Yes. Well, he's not chainsawing anything right now. He is actually building a home for artificial intelligence. And when I mean home, I mean literally he wants an AI to domicile itself in Argentina. He is going to grant AI personhood.
What?
Yes. He's going to create a new legal category of, quote, non-human corporations.
That is bonkers.
And you may say, like, wait a minute, are corporations people? And you got to just look at America to say, yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Thank you, Mitt Romney, circa 2012 election. Yeah. Corporations are people, my friend.
My friend. He always did it in a nice way.
Yeah.
But thankfully to Citizens United and the string of cases that came before it, I think this is America's fault. We have ushered in this age where we are letting AI come in and be its own person.
Right.
And so there's new legislation that'll have 3 provisions. There'll be no oversight of AI. That'll go over well, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. The creation of a new corporate category for AI-run companies and a low corporate tax rate to entice tech companies to Argentina. So here's what, you may have heard a lot of buzzwords around AI right now about the agentic economy.
Sure.
And that's basically an AI agent, right? Think about it as just like a piece of software that goes out and has a job. And that software is going to have access to money.
Yes.
And there's going to be a world where those agents have a wallet. And that wallet is going to be probably crypto or some sort of like digital currency of some kind. And let's say you're a human and you have like a company that is like doing, consulting, right? You send your agent out to do the marketing. You send another agent out to do the planning. You send another agent out to do the strategy. All of those agents will go and do that work, find the customers, and that company can headquarters in Argentina and get all the benefits that a corporation would get.
That's crazy.
And what happens, though, if they break the law?
What happens if a robot breaks the law?
And then who does it roll up to? Do you do like a financial penalty? It's like, okay, great. Here's this fake money that I'm going to create for you and send it to whatever government. And there you go. I don't know what this is like. I unfortunately, I see this is where everything is going.
Sure.
Where there's going to be an entire, I don't know if you've read Hyperion, but there's this thing that in Hyperion, it's like the technosphere, where it's basically like a planet filled with AI.
Oh, really?
And it's all kinds of different AIs.
Yeesh.
And they have different powers, different rules, different components, and they are at war with each other as well.
Okay.
And this feels like these agents are going to be all over the place.
Yeah. I am just blown away that this is happening in Argentina. Leave it to Argentina. They housed the Nazis after World War II.
Yeah.
Now they're taking Peter Thiel, and now they're housing AI robots.
So I think this is a super worrisome thing because, we have the SpaceX IPO, we have the OpenAI IPO, we have the Anthropic IPO, we have the government coming in and saying Anthropic can't use their latest model and they put export controls. So the amount of government putting its finger on the scale for who they like and who they don't like is going to take shape really quickly. And frankly, I don't know what's going to stop these giant AI companies from just ruling countries.
Right.
Why would they, eventually, they're just gonna, I don't know, just overpower them with money or whatever it is.
Yes. No, that is terrifying, but also, again, just uniquely Argentinian right now, especially with Chainsaw Guy in charge of everything. And it's funny because these first two countries that you mentioned, these are the two best countries right now. They were in the finals in 2022 World Cup.
Yes.
So is Lionel Messi going to participate in AI? Honestly, I'd be fine with that. He's fun. Then we'd all be really good soccer players.
But I also don't, I wonder, and this is the silver lining that I hope happens, it's why aren't one of these companies just make a trading bot that, just provides money for everybody? We have universal basic income. Why are we working? Why do we have jobs?
That is something that Bernie Sanders is pitching at the federal level.
The sovereignty thing, the sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah, because by existing, our data, our conversations, everything's going into AI. So the idea is that why should only the billionaire companies be making money off AI if we are all actively participating in it? We all basically get a cut in the same way people in Alaska get a check every month for living in a state that has a bunch of oil.
It is absurd to me that we don't aren't focused on something like this. We're focused on autonomous weapons,
Right.
And I do think I know there's a huge part of this where I live to work. I love what I do. I want to keep working. I always want to do projects. I can't stop doing projects. But I also understand that there's this thing about just simply what should we have jobs?
Right.
Do we need jobs?
That's the UBI argument, the universal basic income argument that Andrew Yang put forth in the 2020 election, which is also something that crosses over not just in progressive political theory, but also libertarian political theory. This is Milton Friedman. They call this a negative income tax. It's just you're getting just some of your money back, and you get to use it for whatever you want.
It seems difficult for me to think about a world where we're still doing work for some corporate ladder or everyone's doing work for some bigger fish. Everyone's got a client, everyone's got somebody that they're working for at the end of the day. And I'm like, well, why?
It's a fair question.
So
I think my big question will be, does Chainsaw Guy get destroyed by AI in Argentina? Because you can't spell Argentina without AI.
What do you guys think? You guys tell me. What do you think we're supposed to do? Do we need jobs? I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's go to Mexico. Rough story from Mexico. With the games happening across the hemisphere, countries have been scrambling to get ready, of course. According to some reports, Mexico has spent approximately $3 billion to improve stadiums, transportation, and other services, with an expectation of 10 million visitors over the course of the tournament. But earlier this month, a new pedestrian bridge at the airport collapsed.
Oh, no.
While the cause is under investigation, the collapse inevitably calls into question the quality of the work. You're Russian to do all these things. The government has deployed 100,000 cops to provide security, in part because thousands of teachers have set up in Mexico's main square called Zocalo to demand higher wages.
Oh.
It's like a little timing. He's like, hey, permiso. Do we have to do this now? Do we have to do the strike now?
Right,
Is it really,
right.
Do you really need it? Can we wait till after the game to do the strike? But now, so like that's happening with the games. You got cops. You got infrastructure problems. You've got security needs. It's stretched very thin. So we'll see what ends up happening there.
Right. In Mexico, again, from a sports angle, they're usually very good. They're the team from the North America, Central America region that usually goes the furthest.
Yes.
So to have them having these internal infrastructure struggles is unfortunate because they are, in terms of our region, one of the best teams in the world.
Who's your picks to win?
The whole thing?
Yeah.
I mean, France and Argentina, again, are still your top ranked, but you got to watch out for a Spain. You got to watch out for a Germany. England sometimes can surprise you. I mean, Belgium is ranked very high right now. Croatia made it to the third place game in 2022.
The Netherlands usually perform well, but they tied the Japanese the other day.
Yeah, well, that's because Japan is also very good.
Oh.
Frankly, I mentioned Spain, but I would be more worried about Spain because they tied the tiny African island nation of Cape Verde.
Oh.
They tied them 1-1. So that's the fun part about World Cup. You never really know who's going to, shit the bed and who's going to excel. Never forget, 2014, Germany-Brazil. The World Cup was in Brazil, and Germany beat Brazil in the final, like 7-2.
Wow.
I mean, you just never know with good old footy.
You never know. Well, guys, we're going to maybe, we'll do something, maybe do some clips.
Absolutely.
We'll do something at the game or something like that. But wish us luck. Wish me luck.
Yes.
I'm safe. We'll see what happens.
We'll see if he gives in to his urges to yell "Free Iran" and make the game over.
I think I definitely am gonna yell.
If you could just wait till after I get some nachos or something to eat,
get
kicked out.
I know.
I will be hungry by then, I think.
Oh gosh. All right. Thanks for joining us on this TFR Goes to FIFA World Cup. We'll see you guys back in studio for the JD Vance Corner. Welcome back to the Forward Report. We survived the Iran v. New Zealand game. Travis.
Incredible. What a match.
What a match. You had the great idea of doing a little recap. So I think this is, I have so much to say. I was nervous.
I have very little to say. So I'll do the footy recap, and that is a 2-2 tie.
Yeah.
And that is probably for the best, based on the multiple different fan bases and factions of fan bases that were at the game. But it was a very fun game. SoFi, beautiful. You've never been there before.
Incredible stadium.
2-2 and 70,000 people there. And New Zealand scored first, but then Iran tied it up. And everyone went crazy. It was overwhelmingly Iran fans, but we'll get into the different kinds of Iranian
there
fans.
Was a lot. There was a spectrum within
that. And then it was 1-1 at the half. And then in the second half, New Zealand scored again. And then Iran tied it up in like the last 10 to 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So from a footballer perspective, it was very entertaining. Even though it was a tie, which I love about soccer, you can still have ties. No penalty kicks in the group stage. 2-2. And my favorite part of the end was 2-2 means peace.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing for anyone who I was like, where's the cameraman? Put me on camera. But I did not look like a fan of either team.
Neither did I.
Just looked like this, basically.
Someone did speak Persian to you, though.
Yes. And it was not you. It was someone else. And I did not know what they were saying.
Well, because I started speaking Persian to. Well, okay, so
yeah, get into the multiple factions of fans at this game.
There was a rule, and I think we talked about it, that you can't bring they call it the Shiro Khorshid, the lion with the sun flag or the apparel into the stadium. No one that I saw got stopped going in with that apparel.
Right, and many people had it on T-shirts.
Yes, a lot of people had it on T-shirts, headbands, whatever, armbands. People brought the flags in under their shirts and then came out with it. No, I feel like a lot of the ticket people or the security people weren't like, oh, I mean, they definitely weren't listeners to the Foreign Report.
Right.
So
And we had just recorded that day.
Yeah. So they didn't really know. I can't fault them for not being informed, but they were not being stopped generally.
No, and there were a ton of those flags.
Everywhere.
Like one of those, if you're not allowed to do this and then everyone does it, what does security even do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
So we get into our seats, and on my left is a father and a son. The son is wearing the older, like maybe from 5 years ago, Iran national soccer jersey, which has the Islamic flag on it, the Iran, the current flag,
Right.
which is
the
like
IR Iran.
Yeah, IR Iran. And then his father had a Lion with the Sun armband. And now we've talked a lot about on the show that the Lion with the Sun armband recently has represented allegiance to the pre-revolution or the Shah and wanting the Shah to come back. But generally, before this recent uprising, before January, the Lion with the Sun flag just meant anything but the regime.
Yes.
And so, but at this place, because it's LA, the Persians came out. And we saw all kinds of different people. So on my left were these with his father and son. And I asked them in Persian, how do you feel about it? And then I also offered to take a photo. And then he's like he started speaking to Travis in Persian because Travis, as everyone that watches this show knows, looks like he is an Islamist.
I fit in. It's so fun to fit in. I'm so excited for when you and I are allowed to do a trip to Iran proper.
You've got like a Turkish Iranian vibe to you.
I have had many people ask me like what my ethnicity is, and they are shocked. I'm like, I'm 75% German and then Scottish. I don't know how it worked out.
So they started. I was like, no, and I went, no, he doesn't. He's not. Stop it. So I asked. I was like, what do you think? Or how do you feel about cheering for this team right now, given everything that's been happening?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's not the soccer team. They can't, these players don't have a choice. We're here to enjoy soccer.
Yeah.
We can't, think about all these things. And his son said just as much as well. And his son was like high school age, it seemed like. And so, but on the other side of us,
oh boy,
were some people. Basically, imagine, the one section in any sporting event where it's just the craziest human is in your section.
Yeah.
And they're like going up and down the steps and yelling and screaming and getting it.
In English Premier League, that would be the supporters section.
Yes.
Where they're flags, shirts off, yelling, chanting the whole time.
This guy, and mind you, the father and son, they were there cheering for Iran. Team Melli is what they call them. On the right side of us, same row, was this insane dude. Screaming all kinds of things in Persian.
Including a bunch of swear words, apparently.
A lot of swear words that offended the parents a couple rows ahead of us.
Yeah.
And they had, and his friends or family that were with him, the Shira Khurshid flag, the big lion with the sun flag. I held it with him for a little bit.
You got a picture.
Yeah, I got a picture. It was really funny. I was asking them, I was like, how are you cheering for the Iran team? And this woman just goes, no. We want New Zealand to win.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, damn, savage. Okay. So you have now Iranians with the Islamic flag. They were like 5 rows ahead of us cheering for Iran. You had people with the lion with the sun emblem on their arm or on their shirt next to us and in front of us cheering for the Iran team.
Yes.
Then you had people as well with the Iran lion with the sun flag cheering passionately for New Zealand.
Right.
Like more passionately than the New Zealand fans.
Yeah, the New Zealand fans were very polite and
they
quiet.
were very quiet. There were New Zealand fans behind us, Those guys behind us were New Zealand fans.
Yep.
They didn't say anything the whole time. And then this guy is screaming and he's doing Javid, Shah, Javid, Shah, just all this stuff. He's like, and then every time New Zealand touched the ball, he'd be like, go, escort,
Right.
you have to escort.
Right.
And then Iran would get the ball and he'd just immediately curse, immediately cursing. And in front of us, and this is where I kind of resolved my conflict for the game, because in front of us was a couple families. They were holding the lion with the sun flag, and they were cheering for the team. And they were kids, doing this, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This regime is not going to take the joy of soccer away from me.
Right.
I have such fond memories of watching soccer in that 98 World Cup with my father, all these other moments watching the team. And we talked about in the previous segment all the ways the team has changed, especially since Mahsa Amini and that uprising. And so I know the team is different. I know the team is viewed differently by Iranians, but there were so many people there that were able to kind of put that aside, or at least hold it gently and cheer for the team.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a both sides thing. It's holding it all together.
Both things.
Yeah, it's holding it all together. The complexity of that. And that was what was really kind of, the paradox of being an Iranian American is something that we all live with all the time. And there were so many people in the stands that were cheering for the team. When they were on a run, you heard the whole stadium.
Yeah, it was loud.
It was we're loud people. And so we went in on that. So it was very interesting to see the whole spectrum of people. And then they started cracking down on the flags.
Yep. Security got a memo. And we don't want to cite our sources, but you had received a tip from a source that someone within Iranians who were
security
apparatus who's watching the game on TV, because we were on a world stage last night.
Yes.
We were witness to a world stage, and apparently it was starting to get out finally that flag was not allowed. And then it starts to get to the actual security people who are doing the work in the stadium.
And I was also getting texts from people that were watching it on TV that were saying, I don't see any of the flags. So the broadcast people,
we're not even putting it.
They were doing some real, specific work, because that stadium had a ton of these Lion and the Sun flags.
Seena and I just kept seeing them pop up, right? And we're
all
just
over
looking at them. And then it's like, with the camera crew, it's probably like, all right, don't put that on there.
Don't put that.
Avoid that guy yelling a lot. And but with security, it's like they had to go almost row to row, section to section, seat by seat.
And I will say they didn't really show any of the beautiful Persian women that come to the stadium, because they all had the Lion with the Sun gear on.
Oof, I was verklempt, as we say in my hometown. They were very beautiful.
And beautiful men too. It was a good, but they were all decked out. And that's the other thing too. Even within the Lion with the Sun spectrum are the Make Iran Great Again, like the big MAGA people that are MIGAs, right?
Yeah, they think Trump is like a savior for everything.
Exactly. Then you have the other people that are like me that are like, okay, no, we hate Trump. He's an idiot, and he's ruined everything. So we're there. Everyone was there. And we also saw some people that are the monarchists that we've talked about on the show many times, going after people that had the Islamic flag draped around them representing the Islamic flag. And man, I get it. You don't want them to have the flag, but you don't have to attack them. The confusion that the New Zealand fans had.
They must have, right. Well, and then New Zealand fans had this thing where I guess their logo, because their jerseys are black or white.
Yeah.
And so they do they have this slogan is all whites.
Yeah, I don't think
And the team is predominantly white.
Yeah.
And I was seeing that. I was like, that's also problematic in this country. But then I did see people with all blacks on their jerseys.
Also problematic.
But then it's also problematic. It's New Zealand's coming in, they just don't know what's happening.
They don't care.
Why would they? Their land is perfect.
In any other exactly. In any other scenario, we'd be like, all whites, all blacks. That's weird. Let's talk about that. But
Right.
no. There are a bunch of Iranians scream cheering for New Zealand, and these New Zealanders were standing there like, what the fuck is it going on?
Right. Yeah.
What is happening right now?
Yeah.
And so it was very strange. And so the broadcast people, they avoided showing any of the flags, and it was a 2-2 win. But man, what a charged, very strange experience to go through. I'm happy I went through it with you, and we got to actually experience it. And I don't like the regime. Obviously, I hate them, and I know the players, as we've talked about, they don't really have a choice at the end of the day.
No.
No,
I mean, especially you've gotten into the World Cup. If you get called up, you go take that honor if you're an athlete.
And Sardar Azmoun, who was their best player, got kicked off the team, the national team. So that was very sad as well to not see him playing. Yeah. I mean, man, what an experience we did. I was legitimately nervous going into the stadium.
Yes, yeah. And this brings it full circle because at the start of our episode, we were driving in. I mean, I could hear it in your voice. You didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to expect. But it's nice that the sports was very entertaining.
Yeah.
And the politics was just very interesting to witness firsthand.
Yeah.
I mean, to know what was happening on the world stage and then also just specifically in SoFi Stadium.
What do you think it also means that FIFA was in the ear of the broadcast saying, don't show any of those flags?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's crazy.
All footy's political. And
Yeah.
like that's, I mean, it's like when someone rushes the field or rushes onto a basketball, a Spurs fan like ran onto, during the NBA playoffs. It's like the cameras tend to cut away because they don't want to give that type of behavior attention no matter what. So I think that's uniform for all sports.
And I think this whole idea of like, oh, put the politics aside, I don't believe in that at all. You cannot put the politics aside at all, which is why I don't believe in like the both sides. You got to hold it all together.
Yeah.
Both things are all there. You got to hold them together.
Yes.
Everything is political.
Yes.
Everything, all whites, very political. All blacks, also political.
Right. Thanks, New Zealand, for getting way too political.
Thank
at
God
the
they
game.
didn't say like all the whites or all the blacks. That would be
Right.
a very different.
Yeah, New Zealand also had like no chance. Like I didn't hear any real chance. They were cheering for their team, but I didn't hear any like full on like.
I'm gonna chalk it up to how confused they must have been that a bunch of Persians were cheering for them.
Just glad it was 2-2 because I think no matter what fan base would have won or lost, they would have been insufferable after the game. A 2-2 draw is perfect for a game like this with such political undertones. And I'll just add, both these teams, not that good. They're going to get their asses kicked by any other team in this tournament. So I hope everyone enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to be downhill from here.
All right. Well, that was a good little recap. Oh, so much fun. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll do our JD Vance Corner. All right, so Foreign Report. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi. This is your weekly foreign policy show that gives you the gory details of geopolitics, and we're going to giggle about it. And what's more giggly than...
Give him a chance, it's JD Vance. No, wait, he sucks.
Club remix, ladies and gentlemen.
Soccer remix, ladies and gentlemen. It was fun. You mentioned, obviously, we were talking soccer this entire episode, but I do remember at the United States Paraguay game last week that was on TV. I was watching a bar in North Hollywood, and when they cut to Marco Rubio sitting with the president of FIFA, the whole bar just started booing. They're like, "Wow, screw you, man!" So a little shout out to Marco.
Oh, yeah.
Not well loved either.
Oh, also, during the Iran game last week, when the Iran national anthem happened,
Lots of boos.
it was like a Knicks game.
Oof,
It was so
right.
many boos.
It was. Woo.
The stadium was shaking with boos.
Yes.
Anyways, go ahead.
And I feel like obviously the man in honor of this segment would only be the person who could be booed more.
Oh, yeah.
If they cut to him on the Jumbotron. JD Vance, everyone. We talked about this Iran deal that who knows if it's going to hold up.
Iran memo,
The memo, the memorandum of understanding.
Yeah.
MOU, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently JD has been nominated to go to Switzerland to sign this thing, which, as you and I both pointed out, everyone watch out.
Yeah.
You might die. If you're a pope, you might die. If you're president of Switzerland, I don't know who's going to be there, but I'm also thinking JD's that guy who fumbled the trophy.
Yeah.
And apparently Trump can't stop talking about it, behind privately. Just remember when JD dropped that trophy?
What an
I just
idiot.
imagine JD fumbling the pen and it slides into someone's throat.
Oh, yeah, all the
just
pens magically don't have any ink in them.
just oh, wow, how embarrassing.
He goes to sign, accidentally rips the paper.
Yes, yeah. So, but this is a fun clip, and you actually, this clip came across our radar, but you had some interesting info about this clip because it's JD talking about the deal that he is going to sign. And again, it's not a deal; it's a memorandum of understanding. The main things, as we talked about, it's it's going to be a ceasefire in theory.
Yes.
And then they just want to open up the strait, and then everything else they'll figure out later.
Yeah. 60 days of talking. The
Sure.
strait's open. Iran will not take a management fee, quote unquote, now, but they will in the future. Which, by the way, even this memo says basically, and we haven't seen the text, but what it's saying is, Iran, you run the strait.
Right. Yeah. And this is a clip from JD on a CBS Morning Show. And you told me, because I'm always getting people send me these clips and I'm finding these clips, but you said literally the day before JD Vance said the opposite of what he says in this clip.
This was coming out because the Iran news agency came out and said that the Islamic Republic is going to get a $300 billion reconstruction budget. And JD went online and was like, people should not trust the Iranian propaganda. All right. And then he went on CBS Morning the next day and said this.
The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, and that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon. So I think the dance you're going to see, Ed, which is going to be interesting, is the Iranian media, especially the hardline media, they're going to talk a lot about what they get without talking about what they give. It's important for all of us to correct that record.
This is breathtakingly stupid.
Yeah, dude.
It should literally take your breath away.
Lay into him.
This is unreal. This is already, he even said it in this thing, that the inspections, you should not be saying inspections.
No.
Don't say inspections, because the JCPOA had more inspections and cameras that were running 24/7. They were Twitch live streaming the nuclear facilities. Like, you should not say inspections. That is the worst thing you could say. And then the $300 billion, what is it? They overstate the $300 billion? Is it going to be $288 billion instead? You are a complete idiot. And it's also not going to be the Gulf. It's going to be private investment. And what's going to happen? It's going to be little Stevie Witkoff. It's going to be old Jared Kushner.
The usual suspects.
They're going to go and then pillage the place.
Yeah.
And then, again, we're paying, everyone's going to have to pay a management fee. Oh, you have ruined everything.
Oh, man.
But
But that's JD's job. He's got to go sell it.
I can't
He's
wait.
like, don't believe everything you see, Ed. And then it turns out to be true.
None of those pens are going to work when they sign. I don't even know if they're going to make it to the signing.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be
Who
what happens
signs a
every week.
memo? Who signs an
Well,
MOU?
Apparently, electronically, they've already signed it. So,
right,
when I re-sign my lease or whatever, I do it electronically, and apparently that holds up in court now.
No, for sure.
But they want to do the ceremony. I mean, Trump needs
I
the
guess that's the
ceremony,
thing.
needs the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
But he's sending JD to do it, which
Because
just means
it's going to fail.
Yeah.
It's 100% going
I
to fail.
can't
If it was an
wait.
actual, you don't need a ceremony
Right.
for we're going to keep talking to get to a deal.
right.
This is,
right.
I mean,
This is like a first date, and you're just like having a wedding ceremony just in case it leads to a
this
wedding.
is like you go to the first date and you ask the girl, it's like, do you want a second date? And she's like, yeah, sure. And then you go and be like, I am the king of the world. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, you're right. Let's have children.
Yes. Anyway,
This is,
so that's JD on the international stage.
oh, there's more?
Buddy, I have to hit this thing just real quick on the domestic stage.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, this is a huge bombshell report coming out of the New York Times on the inside the White House freakout over the Epstein files.
Please, lay it on me.
There is insider information. There's audio from all this, but apparently the Trump administration was so freaked out about the Epstein files coming out way back in summer 2025 that they held a cabinet meeting without Trump, the rest of his little lackeys, in the Situation Room. The Situation Room is the most secure bunker in our federal government. And that is where they're like, this problem was so huge, that's where they decided to hold this.
And you're also
meeting.
saying to me that someone was audio recording.
Dude. And the audio has gotten out to the New York Times.
Adam, were you in the Situation Room
Were you-
recording a podcast?
No.
No?
He said no.
He said no. I don't know.
So this is just, it is whole levels of incompetence. But don't worry, who is seated at the head of the table? Vice President J.D. Vance. There he was. And he said, and it's going to be on audio. It's going to be in this book that's coming out from the New York Times reporters. He said, this is a huge problem. So this is an interesting thing for me because there's a part of me still where it's like, you almost respect JD a little bit because he's like the guy within the administration's like, this is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And he's got the guts to stand up and say that. But as always, as we've seen with all the Iranian war that's not a war affairs and decisions, he's always pushed to the little kids table with his little Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Right? So he's in there with Susie Wiles, who's many people feel she's the actual, like, the mouthpiece of Trump, the one that, she's like the last line of defense to get anything to the president. David Warrington, who's like the White House counsel, the press secretary, of course, Carolyn Levitt, Stephen Chung, who's the communications director, and then of course you got Todd Blanche in there, and then you got Kash Patel. Can you do Kash Patel real quick? Yeah, there he is. What are we doing? What are we doing? Situation room.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Hey, who's recording? Oh, it's me.
It's me. I'm drunk again. Sorry. And then Pam Bondi, who was still Attorney General at the time, her and Cash were on speakerphone. So the vice president was the one who was panicked to the others about the way the subject of the Epstein files was already dividing the MAGA coalition. Many senior officials had the impression that Vance had bought into the darkest theories about the Epstein and the cabal of predators hidden within the country's ruling class. And basically another top official said that Vance had been the one who was pounding on the Epstein issue since the release of the first memo. So he was pressing for the administration to release everything. And this is, again, last summer. Fast forward, that has not happened. But it's so interesting. Again, I see this divide. And as JD, it's both simultaneous respect for JD and then joy that no one's listening to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, this is a big problem. And it is a big problem. I mean, I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene on CNN calling Trump a traitor over this. Granted, he called her a traitor first. She's fair. Just, returning the favor. But it is definitely divided the MAGA coalition. And it's just funny to think of JD trying to take charge. I mean, this is in the Situation Room. This is a big deal. And then it's like, JD, get your little Diet Mountain Dew, go back to the kids' table. No one cares.
I think this article was also written by Jonathan Swan and Maggie Haberman.
Yeah,
not two slouches. These are the top reporters.
And they have sources.
Yeah, they've definitely got sources. And they also subscribe to the Situation Room podcast, apparently, that gets recorded.
It gets recorded secretly.
I think it's Susie Wiles.
Man, I mean, we just went through the names. I mean, it's not Todd Blanche.
Definitely, it's not the counsel. It's not the chief counsel.
Wouldn't be the lawyer.
I don't think it's going to be Carolyn Levitt. I think it's Susie Wiles. I think it's just like in the movie kind of brain that I have. You just said it. The person that's Trump's mouth, the person that's closest to him, the person that's the last line of defense.
Yes, yeah. And she's like super smart, which makes it even less like, why would she even
be Susie?
Right.
Well played.
Why would she be part of this administration at all? But apparently she's maybe pulling who's that fellow General John Kelly, when he was the chief of staff.
Well, she also, didn't she run BB's campaign or something like that?
Yeah, she's been in the game for a long time. She ran Trump's Florida campaign, I think, in 2024.
I don't know. So who knows? But it got leaked. Not only did it get recorded,
which is bonkers,
it got leaked. So whoever recorded it was like, oh yeah, this has got to go.
Right.
Go out somewhere.
What if it's JD? What if it's what? And then again, this is where my brain's like, do I respect him or do I hate him or is it both? I don't know sometimes. But this is one of those perfect examples where I'm just like, he was the guy who said, we got to do something about this. And then they didn't do anything about it because they don't listen to him. They don't take him seriously. Yeah. Which maybe that's why he's
who was the damn Don Bongino? He was in that same room yelling about this stuff too. He's like, I told you. Yeah. I told you this would happen.
Big deal. Yeah. So anyway, just a little JD update. Yeah. We'll see what happens when they send him to Switzerland. Maybe he gets relegated again. They just get, after watching that UFC fight, I would not be surprised they get the Iranian minister, JD Vance, Pakistani president, and then ding, ding, ding. Oh my God, it's Donald Trump with a folding chair. And he whacks JD and then he does the signing himself.
I think it's incredible. All right, guys, that's our show for today and yesterday because it was a 2-day show for you guys. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter on our website, foreignreportshow.com.
Leave us comments.
I'll
read them.
Travis will read them.
I'll read them.
Travis, I don't read the comments.
No.
Anyways,
Go New Zealand.
go New Zealand. I mean, I don't know who I'm cheering. Still, I don't know.
Right.
All right. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, Travis Irvine. This is the Forum Report. We'll see you guys next week.